If her friends hate you and her family is side-eyeing you, that doesn't automatically mean that you're the problem. But it does mean something important is being tested right about now. And how you respond to this moment will decide whether the relationship grows stronger or quietly dies. If you've ever felt like you're dating a woman and also dating her entire group chat, please stay with me. This video is for you. Jessica OS here. Welcome to the channel. So in this video, I'm going to explain what it actually means when her people do not like you, when you should ignore it completely, and when it is a real red flag. And the one thing that matters more than approval from anyone in her circle. Let's get it. Reality check number 1. Her friends and family are not dating you. One of the biggest mistakes men make in this situation is assuming that her friends and family are judging you constantly. But the truth is they're not. Hear me. They're judging a narrative. And that narrative is filtered entirely through her emotional state. I'll explain. Her friends don't see how you show up for her. They don't see the patience that you have on good days. They don't hear the tone you use when you're being supportive or steady. They hear stories, fragments, moments told after an argument, during frustration, or when she's venting and needs validation. That alone should change how you interpret their dislike. Because people who only hear someone when they're emotional don't form balanced opinions. They formed protective ones. Friends and family are asking, does she feel safe right now? And safety in their mind often means emotional comfort and not long-term leadership or stability. And this is where men get trapped. You see, a man hears, my friends don't like you. And immediately he thinks he needs to fix himself, explain himself, or prove something to someone. But what he's really responding to is not rejection, it's misrepresentation. You see, if she's frequently venting about you, that's not a reflection of how bad you are. It's a reflection of how she processes emotion. Some women regulate stress by outsourcing it. They talk first and then think later. And once a story is told in a certain emotional tone, it's almost impossible for outsiders to unsee it. Now let's add this layer. Friends bond through loyalty and not logic. Family bonds through protection and not neutrality. So once they take a side, they're not reassessing every new interaction you have. They're watching for confirmation that their initial concern was right. And that means you're not being evaluated fairly. Hear me. You're being watched. This is why trying to win them over rarely works. You're playing defense in a game where the jury already leaned in one direction. The correct response here is consistency. Consistency will do two things at once. It calms her nervous system over time, right? Because you show up for her. And it exposes whether the outside noise actually matters. Because when a woman feels emotionally steady with you long enough, she'll either stop sharing every frustration with her circle or starts defending you without being asked. And that is the real signal. Reality check number 2. Women filter men through their circle when they're uncertain. When a woman is emotionally clear about a man, she doesn't crowdsource her feelings. She decides quietly, internally, and then moves forward with certainty. But when she's unsure, she opens the floor. And this is where most men misunderstand what's actually happening. They think her friends and family are the ones creating doubt. In reality, they're amplifying doubt that already exists. A woman does not suddenly let outside opinions influence her relationship when everything's solid. She does it when she's still trying to make sense of her own emotions. And the people she asks are not necessarily evaluating you. They're evaluating her emotional state. Don't forget, if she sounds conflicted, they grow protective. If she sounds overwhelmed, they lean critical. If she sounds unsure, they fill in the blanks with caution. That's how influence enters. So here's the part you need to hear clearly. Her circle does not hold power on its own. They borrow power from her hesitation. And this is why arguing against them will never work. You're fighting symptoms and not the source. The source is her lack of internal clarity. When a man senses uncertainty, he tries to close the gap with effort. On the surface, it looks like caring, but underneath it, it communicates something entirely different. It communicates that he's uneasy in his role. That uneasiness gives her circle more leverage, because now there is a visible imbalance. She's unsure, he's trying harder. Steadiness creates contrast. The contrast will force a woman to feel her own uncertainty instead of outsourcing it. If she's genuinely interested, her nervous system will settle. The noise will quiet. The outside voices will fade because basically they're no longer needed. If she continues leaning on her circle, despite your consistency, that, unfortunately, will reveal something completely different and critical. She's not looking for alignment. She's looking for permission to disengage without guilt. And that's not a you problem. That's a decision she's struggling to own. Reality check number 3. Approval does not create attraction. Leadership does. When men hear that her friends and family don't like them, a subtle shift often happens inside. They stop leading and start negotiating. They start adjusting their tone, their availability, their boundaries, even their values, hoping that if they just present themselves the right way, resistance will soften. Approval seeking does not signal safety. It signals uncertainty. Leadership in a relationship requires emotional orientation. It's the ability to remain grounded when pressure enters the system. You see, her circle disliking you is that pressure you're feeling. How you carry yourself under that pressure tells her far more about you than any explanation ever could. A man who leads does not become combative. He remains consistent, and consistency is leadership expressed over time. Women are drawn to men who trust their own direction enough that outside noise does not destabilize them. And here's the part most men need to hear. You can't outperform uncertainty. You cannot earn attraction by proving that you are good enough, right? That mindset already places you beneath the dynamic. Attraction grows when a woman experiences you as someone who is centered, right? Self-respecting, emotionally anchored. Things like that, regardless of who's watching. Now, if she feels that, her friends eventually soften. So the third reality check is simple, but not easy. Stop trying to be chosen by everyone when friends and family matter. Not every criticism should be ignored. And not every uncomfortable reaction from her circle is just noise. Hear me. Strong men know the difference between external pressure and meaningful feedback, okay? And this only becomes serious when the concern is not emotional, vague, or inconsistent. It becomes serious when the message stays the same no matter who is saying it, right? And when they're saying it. Hear me. If multiple people who have nothing to gain from aligning with each other point to the same issue, that's information. And here's how you tell the difference. Ask yourself whether the criticism is specific or emotional. Something feels off about him is not data. He disappears when things get difficult. Right? This is where ego can get in the way because some men will reject all the criticism to protect their self-image. Others absorb all the criticism to protect the relationship. And both are mistakes. You see, the grounded response I expect you to deliver sits in the middle. You listen without defending. You assess without apologizing for existence, right? So if the feedback, for instance, points to inconsistency, emotional withdrawal, poor boundaries, or lack of follow-through, that deserves honest reflection because, well, those traits erode trust in any long-term relationship. People stop criticizing when your behavior makes the criticism irrelevant. If her entire circle consistently flags the same issue and she quietly agrees with them, that's not a battle to win. It's a signal to reassess whether the relationship is actually aligned. Because not every relationship is meant to be fought for, you see. Some are meant to reveal where growth is needed. So when does it actually matter, I hear you ask? Well, it matters when the feedback is consistent, when it's specific and behavior-based. It matters when it aligns with patterns you already recognize in yourself. And it matters when ignoring it could cost you respect, stability, or self-trust. Everything else is just noise. What really matters more than their opinion? At the end of the day, none of her friends' opinions and none of her family's judgments carry real weight unless they disrupt one thing: her emotional experience with you. That experience is the foundation everything else rests on, you see. A woman can hear criticism all day, but if she feels calm with you, grounded around you, and steady in your presence, those voices lose influence. They become background noise instead of direction. What actually matters is whether she feels emotionally safe when she's with you. A woman feels safe when she doesn't have to guess where she stands when it comes to you. When she doesn't feel emotionally chased or emotionally abandoned, right? When conflict doesn't turn into chaos. That feeling is rare. And when a man proves it, it often outweighs almost every external opinion. Women will tolerate disapproval from others if their internal experience is strong enough. They will not tolerate internal instability, however, just to please outsiders. Now, if her friends dislike you and she amplifies their opinions, repeats them, or uses them as leverage, that signals something deeper. It means she does not yet feel safe enough to fully choose you. So recognize that. That safety is not created by explaining yourself. It's created by being emotionally consistent. Men often ask what they should do differently here, and the answer is rarely more effort. It's better self-regulation. Let's wrap up this conversation with an uncomfortable truth. If her entire circle hates you and she does nothing to protect the relationship, the issue isn't them. It's the lack of alignment between you and her. And if you try to fix that by shrinking yourself, trust me when I say you lose twice. Hope this video helped. Jessica OS here. See you in the next one.